All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our online learnings. And this is the second sessions of your Wednesday class. And in these sessions, you are going to study the writing break 3. However, I hope you remember the first lesson that you study in the first session. And in the first sessions, I think you should remember that lesson because it is very important. So in the first sessions, you studied about the language point, which is to give the suggestion using to infinitive and gerund. Now, in the writing break 3, there are some vocabularies that you need to master in order to write and use those words effectively in your speaking and at the same time in your writing as well. So the lessons that you are going to learn in this session is the Unit 3, Infinitive and Gerund. However, the main focus of this video lesson, we will focus on the vocabularies. So what are you going to study in this slide presentations? Sure, if you open your books to page 36 of your writing break 3, you will see there are 8 vocabularies, and each vocabulary are very special because it has a similar meaning and the different punctuations. So in this video, you will look at the meaning of the those 8 vocabulary, and at the same time you will see the example of each word so that it can help you to use those words effectively in your writing and in your speakings. So without any further ado, let's start with the first word. And for the first word, it is a little bit tricky because as you can see, um, the word promise here is the word promise. It is written the same and is pronounced the same, but it has two different function. It can function as verb, and at the same time, it can also function as noun. And the meaning here, let's look at the first meaning here, which is the meaning of the verb. So the verb promise, when it functions as the verb, it means to tell someone that you will certainly do something. Okay, you make a promise, which means you guarantees that you will do something. So let's look at the example in this sentence. As you can see, the word promise is used in the position of the verb next to the subject, right? So I promise to buy you some food this evening. So it means you tell somebody that you will certainly buy buy some food. And if you look at the language structure over here, promise is used with to infinitive, which is to to buy. Okay. Uh, let's look at the verb promise when it functions as a noun. So when the verb promise functions as a noun, it means the action of saying that you will certainly do something. You promise, which means you make a promise. So let's look at the example. I'll put my things away tonight, and that's a promise. As you can see, we have the article a plus the word promise here. So you automatically know that this word function as a noun because in front of it is the article a. Okay, let's move on to the second word. The second word, which is decide. So you have to pronounce two syllable, decide. And decide function as a verb. And if you want to change it to a noun, it becomes decision, decision, decision. So let's look at the meaning of the word decide. So the meaning of the word decide, which means to choose between one responsibility or other, which means you make something in your mind. Let's look at the example here. She decides not to go to the party with her classmate, which means in her mind, in her opinion, she make a clear goal, which is not to go. So decide, this is a verb, but it happened in your brain. How about the word decision? So decision function as a noun. So decision refer to a choice that you make about something. when you decide to do something, and that thing or the outcome of um, your choice become the decisions. So look at the example. She has had to make some very difficult decisions. She has to make some very difficult decisions. So decision here is a noun. Let's move on to another word, which is expect and expectation. So the first word, expects, two syllable, expects, it functions as a verb, and the noun of this verb is expectation. There are four syllables. So let's look at the meaning of the word expect as a verb. So expect, when it functions as a verb, it means to think or believe something will happen. So you expect something bad to happen or you expect something good to happen. So expect means you think or you believe something will happen. So let's look at the example. I don't expect we will have any more trouble from him, which means you make a predictions or you just think or you feel like something will happen. And this one, something bad or something that he caused the trouble and you expect it not to happen because you use the word I don't expect. Okay, look at the noun of the word expect, which is expectation. So the stress is on the third syllable, expectation. Okay, and the word expectation referring to the feeling that good things are going to happen in the future. So I have high expectation for this job, which means you will be likely to be selected for this job. So your expectation, which means your your predictions, but in a good way. Okay, let's move on to the last word for today's lesson. So the last pair of word is revolutions, which function as a noun. So revolutions. So revolution, there are four syllables, and the stress is on the third one, revolution, revolutions. And the adjective of the word revolution is revolutionary, revolutionaries. So they are revolutionary. So how many syllables? One, two, three, four, five. Revolutionaries, and the stress is on the fourth word, which is revolutionaries, and it functions as an adjective. Now let's look at the definitions of the word revolutions. The word revolution refers to a very important change in the way people do things. So it's not just simply a change, but it is very important change we call for revolutions. So in the lesson previously, you studied about the French Revolutions. So in French, they changed their government system from monarchy. So monarchy, which means the country was ruled by the king, and then it changed to the republic, which means the country ruled by the president. So this one or this type of change we call a revolution because it is very important in the French societies, right? So in order to describe a situation, in order to describe a big changes like that, we need a revolutionary, which is an adjective. For example, here, let's look at the meaning of the word revolutionary. Revolutionary is an adjective, so it used to refer to something that completely new and having a great effects. So let's look at the example. The 20th century brought about revolutionary changes, which means very or completely changes that has a great effect in our lifestyle. So if you look at the word revolutionary here, it functions as an adjective and it modify the word changes. Okay, so all of those words, everyone, are, let's recall it. We have the word promise, we have the word decide and decision. We have the word expect and expectation. We have the words revolutions and revolutionaries. So those verbs are very helpful for you, and pay attention to the structure of those vocabulary, whether to use with to infinitive or to use with gerund. Now everyone, it's come to the end of our today lesson, and I hope to see all of you again in the next video. And before we end the class today, I would like to remind you that there are some exercise in your writing grade 3, which is on page 36. So don't forget to do it as your exercise to improve your vocabulary skill. Now everyone, let's say goodbye and see you again in the next one. Goodbye.